Adanna had always believed in love. Raised in a peaceful home in Nsukka by her widowed mother, Mom and Kem, Adanna grew up with firm values and a gentle spirit. She was beautiful, the kind of beauty that turned heads in the village market and made men lose their words. But she wasn't just a pretty face. She was intelligent, ambitious, and full of life. When she met Chijioke during a youth seminar at the church, she felt it instantly. That rush, that spark. He was charming, soft-spoken, and unlike any man she had met. He spoke of dreams, of relocating abroad, of building a life free from poverty. "I'll take you with me, Ada," he whispered one night, his breath warm against her ear. "You deserve more than this village can offer." And just like that, Adanna was swept off her feet. They courted for a year. But slowly, subtle changes crept into Chijioke's demeanor. He became possessive, always needing to know where she was, who she was talking to. When she laughed too loud in public, he would hiss under his breath, "Do you want them to think you're cheap?" But Adanna always found a way to justify it. "Maybe he's just being protective," she told herself. "He loves me." One night, after a heated argument over a male friend who had greeted her in church, Chijioke slapped her. The silence that followed was louder than any scream. He cried. He begged. He knelt down before her mother. "It was the devil," he said. "It will never happen again." And Adanna, blinded by love and confused by fear, forgave him. A rushed traditional wedding followed. No white wedding, no honeymoon. Just a quick wine-carrying ceremony and a move into Chijioke's compound in Enugu. That's when the real nightmare began. Chijioke stopped working. He would lock Adanna in the house, forcing her to cook, clean, and stay off her phone. Her mother's calls were ignored. Her friends stopped hearing from her. And then came the bruises, not just physical but emotional. He would call her useless, foolish, barren, even though they had only been married 6 months. When she cried at night, he would smile, lean close, and whisper, "You're mine. No one can save you." Her only relief came from her best friend, Neoma, who had relocated to Lagos but still tried to keep in touch. One night, while Chijioke was asleep, Adanna managed to record a voice note. In a broken whisper, she said, "Anna, if anything happens to me, tell my mother I love her. Tell her I tried. I tried to leave. But he wouldn't let me. I'm scared. I don't think I'll survive another night." She sent it, and then her phone went dead. The next morning, Adanna was gone. When Neoma played the voice note to Mom and Kem, the old woman collapsed. Her cries echoed through the compound, waking the neighbors. A search began. The police were contacted. Chijioke claimed she had run away, taken some clothes and left a note. But there was no note, no footprints, no goodbye. Whispers grew louder in the village. Someone had seen Chijioke burning a suitcase behind the house. Others spoke of late-night arguments. But there was no proof. And without proof, there was no justice. Months passed. Neoma refused to give up. She began digging, paying neighbors, following clues. Eventually, she met one of Chijioke's old friends, Obiora, a drunk who had once tried to woo Adanna before she married. One rainy evening, fueled by guilt and palm wine, Obiora confessed, "I saw him bury something at the back of his father's old land in Ehamufu. He told me never to speak. But I've seen her mother crying too much. I can't keep quiet anymore." The police were informed. Team was dispatched. Behind the abandoned family farmland, buried beneath the red soil and wrapped in a tattered wrapper, they found Adanna. Her body was barely recognizable. But the bracelet on her wrist, the one her mother gave her on her 18th birthday, was still there. Chijioke was arrested. His trial was short. The evidence too damning. He was sentenced to life in prison. Adanna's funeral was the biggest the village had ever seen. Women wailed. Men bowed their heads in shame. Mom and Kem stood strong, her voice shaking but clear. My daughter was not weak. She was not foolish. She was in love. And she paid for it with her life. But her story will not be buried. Neoma later opened a foundation in Adanna's name, Adanna's Voice, for women trapped in abusive relationships. And somewhere in heaven, Adanna finally rested. She thought she could trust him. But that trust became her curse. If you or someone you know is living in fear, speak out before it's too late.